Here we have a simple form containing two inputs. The first one of type text and the second one of type number. We use the first one to gather the user's name and the second one to gather age. Next, we have a button that is used to submit the form. Let's fill the form out. For name, let's do Peter, and for age, let's do something like 4. These inputs seem to be working all right, but this form actually has two very serious problems. Problem number 1 is that we are not keeping the current values of the inputs in application state. That means other parts of the application that might be interested in these values can't use them in a declarative way. Problem number 2 is even worse. You'll see if we submit the form, a full reload of the page will happen. This is completely undesirable with single-page applications, where what we want is to use JavaScript to do the request using AJAX without a full page reload. Let's fix the first problem. First, we need the state hook. Now, let's get a couple of slices of state going. The first one being name, and the second one being age. Next, we will attach change handlers to these inputs. The handler is a callback taking a synthetic React event as its argument. Inside the function, we can use setName to change that slice of state to become the value of the event target. Let's break this line a little so it's a little bit more readable and take the name slice of state for a drive. We will put it in there and change the value. And that seems to be working. Let's do the same thing for age. Attach a change handler there. And set age to be the target value. Break it up a little bit. Consume the age slice of state inside of this heading and try it out. And that seems to be working. We have solved the problem of the application not being aware of the current values inside the form. In regards to the second problem, when we submit the form, a submit event fires on the form. So we should intercept that event and see if we can do something about the page reload. For that, we will attach an onSubmit handler, which is of course a callback taking a synthetic React event. Inside of here, we will prevent the default behavior for HTML to fire a request right away by invoking prevent default on the event object. Let's take it for a drive. Josh is 4. That's still working. Submit the form. Nothing happens, and that is actually good. To sanity test our solution, let's comment out this line right here. Fill out the form. Hit submit, and here's the nasty reload. So back to here, this is the spot where we want to send the information from the form over to the back end, but without the nasty reload. For example, if we have Axios installed in the project, we could import Axios from Axios, and then we could use it right here because we have the values of the form in scope. There are several options. For example, we could go about it like this. Do axios.get, pass a template literal in there, and do something like a query string. Do name is the name from state and age is the age from state. Let's open DevTools so we can see this in action. Head over to the Network tab and filter everything out except for AJAX requests. We will fill out the form, go ahead and submit it, and there is the request. It's a request to the same URL we're on, with a query string attached at the end of the URL. Here's a name of Josh and an age of 2. Of course, we could submit the form using a post request. In this case, we would do something like axios.post, passing a valid URL in there, and a payload. In this case, probably an object containing a name property with a name value from state and an age property coming also from state. This request will fail, but we can still observe it on the Network tab, clean everything up, fill the form. Peter is 1, send it over. There's our failure because this website is not having post requests to this URL. However, we can still inspect the request and see that this is the URL, and at the end we can see the payload of the request with the values from the form. And these are different ways we can use the onSubmit handler on form elements. We could refactor a little bit and make things slightly more nice by pulling out these callbacks instead of having them inlined with the elements. Perhaps we could do const onSubmit be equal to all of that. And then down here, all we need to do is pass onSubmit. And of course, do the same thing for the onChange handlers. Now we can pass onNameChange as the onChange handler. And do the same thing for age. And now things look a little bit more readable. However, it feels like it wouldn't be too scalable to have a different slice of state for each input. And that is the subject of another video.